Evening all, welcome to a journey that promises to be both enlightening and unsettling. Welcome back to Man of Thoughts, where we explore the depths of the human mind and the shadows that lurk within. I'm your host, your guide through the labyrinth of thoughts and emotions, ready to delve into the shadowy corners of the human psyche. Tonight, we're taking a trip into the mind of Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, a man whose theories have shaped our understanding of the mind. Now Freud, he were a right curious one, a man who spent his life exploring the hidden depths of our consciousness. He spent his days poking about in the dark recesses of the mind, unearthing all sorts of unsettling truths about us lot. His work was groundbreaking, controversial, and often misunderstood. Tonight we're diving into his 5 stages of psychosexual development. These stages, according to Freud, are the building blocks of our personality and behavior. Don't let the fancy name fool you. It's a wild ride through the desires, fixations, and anxieties that shape us from wee babes to, well, slightly less wee babes. Each stage is a critical period in our development, influencing who we become as adults. So grab a cuppa, settle in, and prepare to face the darkness within. This journey isn't for the faint of heart, but it's one that promises to be deeply rewarding. After all, as Freud himself once said, unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. So let's unearth those buried emotions together, and perhaps in the process find a bit of light in the darkness. Welcome to the journey. Picture this, a wee bairn, all gums and gurgles, completely at the mercy of its own needs. The world is a vast, mysterious place, and for this tiny human, it all boils down to one thing: comfort. Freud reckons this is the oral stage, where the world revolves around one thing and one thing only: the mouth. It's a time when sucking, biting, and chewing are not just actions, but essential experiences that shape the infant's understanding of the world. Sucking, biting, chewing. It's all about that primal satisfaction. These actions are more than mere habits. They are the baby's way of exploring, learning, and finding solace in an otherwise overwhelming environment. But what happens when that need, that primal urge, isn't met? When the comfort of the mouth is denied, the consequences can be profound and far-reaching. Let me tell you about young Albert, a lad haunted by night terrors. These weren't just ordinary bad dreams, they were intense, terrifying episodes that left him and his parents in a state of constant dread. Every night, the same chilling screams, the thrashing limbs, the sheer terror in his wide eyes. It was as if his subconscious was waging a war, bringing forth fears that he couldn't understand or articulate. Turns out, Albert was weaned early, his need for that oral fixation left unmet. The comfort he sought through his mouth was abruptly taken away, leaving a void that his young mind couldn't fill. Those night terrors. Freud would say they were the echoes of that unmet need, bubbling up from the subconscious. The unresolved longing for oral satisfaction manifested in his dreams, turning them into nightmares. A chilling reminder that even the smallest among us have hidden depths. The early experiences, the unmet needs, they all leave an imprint, shaping the psyche in ways we are only beginning to understand. So the next time you see a baby gurgling contentedly, remember, there's a whole world of emotions and needs behind those innocent eyes. Ah, the terrible twos, a time of tantrums, defiance, and a newfound obsession with bodily functions. Freud called this the anal stage, where pleasure and conflict revolve around control, particularly bowel control. Take young Penelope, a right proper madam even at the tender age of 3. Everything had to be. Toys arranged in perfect lines, food meticulously separated on her plate. Any deviation from her rigid routine, and the screams would curdle your tea. Freud would argue that Penelope, bless her cotton socks, was locked in a battle for control during the anal stage. Her need for order, a manifestation of the anxieties and pleasures associated with this stage, a stark reminder that even in the seemingly mundane, the seeds of our future selves are being sown. Now this is where things get a bit complicated, the phallic stage. Freud believed this is when young lads develop an unconscious and rather unhealthy attraction to their mothers. Jealousy towards their fathers? Absolutely. You bet your bottom dollar. This stage is marked by intense emotions and a budding awareness of familial dynamics. Let's talk about little Edward, a bright lad, but prone to bouts of possessiveness towards his mother. Edward was a child who adored his mother, often clinging to her as if she were his entire world. His attachment was more than just affection. It was a deep-seated need for her undivided attention. The mere sight of his father putting a comforting arm around her would send Edward into a spiral of rage. His young mind couldn't comprehend sharing his mother's love. Freud would argue that Edward, bless his little heart, was grappling with the Oedipus Complex. This theory suggests that young boys experience a subconscious rivalry with their fathers for their mother's affection. A primal jealousy, a desire for his mother's sole affection. Edward's intense emotions were a manifestation of this complex, a chilling reminder of the complex and often unsettling emotions that simmer beneath the surface, even in the youngest of minds. These feelings, though natural, can be quite overwhelming for a child. No, she's mine. Edward's outbursts were frequent and intense, a clear indication of his inner turmoil. "Edward, sweetie, what's wrong?" His mother, though concerned, often found herself at a loss, unable to fully understand the depth of his emotions. "A family portrait," the mother's face scratched out. This act of defacement was Edward's way of expressing his frustration and jealousy. A child's crayon drawing of a monster next to it. The monster, perhaps, symbolized the fear and anger that Edward felt towards his father, the perceived rival for his mother's love. Edward's struggle is a poignant example of how early childhood experiences and emotions can shape one's understanding of relationships and love. His journey through the phallic stage was fraught with challenges, but it also highlighted the deep bond he shared with his mother. Despite the jealousy and rage, there were moments of pure joy and connection between Edward and his mother. These moments were a testament to the love that underpinned their relationship, a love that, despite its complexities, was genuine and profound. In the end, Edward's story is a reminder of the powerful emotions that children experience and the importance of understanding and addressing these feelings with compassion and care. As Edward grew older, he began to understand and navigate his emotions better, leading to a more harmonious family dynamic. The journey was not easy, but it was a crucial part of his development. And so the story of Edward, his mother, and a jealous rage comes to a close, leaving us with a deeper understanding of the complexities of the human psyche and the enduring power of love. After the tumultuous phallic stage, things quieten down a bit. This is the latency period, a time for school, friendships, and thankfully a bit of a break from the psychosexual drama. But don't think for a minute that the shadows are gone for good. They're just lurking, biding their time, waiting for the right moment to re-emerge.
And here we are, folks, the final act, the genital stage. Puberty hits, hormones rage, and those repressed desires come roaring back with a vengeance.
This time, it's not about mum and dad, thank heavens for small mercies. It's about relationships, intimacy, and navigating the complex world of adult sexuality.
But remember all that baggage we've been lugging around since childhood? Those unresolved conflicts, those hidden desires? They don't just disappear.
They shape our relationships, our choices, our very understanding of ourselves. So there you have it, Freud's 5 stages of psychosexual development. Dark, unsettling, and more than a little bit weird.
Love him or loathe him, there's no denying the bloke had an impact.
His theories continue to spark debate and intrigue, reminding us that the human mind is a complex and often contradictory beast. What do you lot think? Did Freud hit the nail on the head, or was he barking up the wrong tree entirely? Head down to the comments and let's have a chinwag. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more explorations into the dark side of the human experience. Until next time, remember, there's a bit of Freud in all of us, so embrace your inner darkness and never be afraid to explore the shadows.